Welcome to Healing is Hilarious. I'm your host, Rachel LaForce. This is a podcast where personal development meets punchlines. Each week, I'm offering you my own lived experience and diving into topics like self-empowerment, authentic living, and learning how to listen to your inner knowing. Because after all, healing doesn't have to be heavy. It's hilarious. Hi friends, welcome back. This is Healing is Hilarious with me, Rachel LaForce. This is a spiritual podcast from me, a comedian, because, well, healing is hilarious. This is the space where we talk about all things personal development, well-being, spirituality, and really making sure that we are aligning you and your body, mind, and soul so that you can go out there and do amazing things. Because that's what we're here to do. We are going to heal and live better, but we're not taking ourselves too seriously, okay? We're on a spinning rock in an infinite universe, and we're not entirely sure how we got here, all right? So maybe, just maybe, you can have a little bit of fun while making your dreams come true. That's what we're here to do. Sound good? I love it. Last week, we talked all about stepping into excellence and what would that look like. And I want to offer you this as we move through, because I know, especially those of us that are living intentionally, maybe you found your way to this podcast and this is, you're where I was in 2018, where it's like, okay, I'm ready to live differently. I kind of know what intentional living means. I'm trying to move out of some of these things. And something that has been coming up for me a lot is this idea of nurture. When I even say that, there may be a myriad of things that come to your mind. If you're a mother, maybe it's that. If you're a healer, I'm sure you do that for your clients. Maybe you like to be nurtured. You're like, oh, I nurture through food. That's how I love to show up for people. And I certainly have been thinking a lot about it through being a mother and knowing that ultimately my job is, amongst everything, okay, podcast for a different day, but is to nurture and how I do that. And there was this light bulb that went off while sitting in traffic, as you do. And I was like, oh, I think I solved it. And I wanted to share this to you. We need to talk about nurture versus hustle, okay? Nurture versus hustle. If you feel that you're an entrepreneur or you are a working mother or you probably, I don't know your life, but I'm going to guess no matter what you're doing, there's a hustle, right? There's still always, it feels like there's not enough time in the day. You're grinding, you're trying to get these things done. And it gets confusing for us sometimes when it's like hustle, but also rest. Restoration, rest though, but keep going, but do, right? And I think sometimes, especially for those of us that are very self-aware, even when we're prioritizing rest, even then when we come back into the hustle, we are prone to burnout and all of these other things. And I'm not going to be so arrogant as to say I've solved it, but I think I'm on to something, if I dare say. What if we looked at nurturing our dreams in the same way that we would look at nurturing ourselves, nurturing a child? What would that feel like? Would we show up to our dreams, to our opportunities, to what we want to do differently? Because boss babe culture, hustle culture, entrepreneur, again, I am who I say I am, okay? I have been building, go to scootorbitstudios.com, go and check it out, especially here if you're here in Atlanta, but just if you're ever curious about what I do when I'm not here. And so my husband and I are media entrepreneurs. This is what we do. So I'm speaking from experience. I am raising a 2 and almost 4-year-old. She's got a lot of jobs. Okay. And people are always like, how do you do it? How do you do it? And I certainly, I have built a team that makes it a little bit easier. I am also just incessant, for better or worse, ambitious. I feel my creativity feels like my divinity. It's what fuels me, right? So that is part of it. I think it's just my makeup of who I am. But also I have learned where the burnout line is. I have learned when I need to rest. And then I've also learned those times, especially in entrepreneurship, you don't get to rest. There are times, this week is the perfect example, this month is the perfect example where it's like, well, shit's due, okay? So it's either going to get in or you make the decision and it's not, right? So that can be incredibly overwhelming. But I'm like, because the difference is, and what happens with burnout, at least for me, and I'm guessing you're going to identify with this if I'm feeling into this correctly, resent. We become resentful and carry resentment even towards the things that we love or we're wanting to do. What we are wanting to do, right? I see this all the time when I coach people for creative. They're burnt on social media. I started this thing and then I stopped, and first of all, because social media is wildly overwhelming, right? It's the wild, wild west. We're all still trying to figure it out. It makes sense that you're burnt out. But when we can go back to a place of nurture, what would it be like to nurture our creativity and nurture our dreams? And because you can feel that shift. Even if you say in your body the word hustle, your body is going to react different than when you say nurture. Your physical body is going to react differently to both of those things. And for those of you who, utilize this language, it's a vibration, it's a frequency. Nurture is barefoot, it's grounded, it's hands in. It's knowing there's enough time. It is the thought process and methodology of a gardener. A gardener knows there are seasons of that garden. A gardener understands the gift of being in the dirt when nothing's there yet, because there's no rush. They understand the process. They're there to nurture and to watch something grow. And dare I say, that's the vibe. That's the vibe that we want here. We have to have the discipline to disattach from hustle culture, from the hustle and incessant change of algorithms, of TikTok, of like all of these things. I'm not saying don't participate in them, right? In the same way where it's like, yeah, don't leave your 9 to 5 to start your business yet if we don't have that exit strategy, right? Like bills got to get paid, right? Kids got to get taken care of. I always say the most spiritual things are the practical. So let's be practical. And the practicality is if you are living a life, if you are in pursuit of living boldly, rest is actually going to have to be something that's budgeted in. It's not something that's just available to you. And so that hustle, that need, that incessant, that's what it feels like in my body when I'm like, I know I'm ready for the next, it's this like hunger. It's almost animalistic. And there's something beautiful there. But we have to learn how to steer it. Right? It's almost boundaries within your business, boundaries for your creativity, boundaries for the muse. Sometimes, or maybe even identify it of like downloads that you get, or like, what is next for you, all of these things that, especially for us as creatives, we're like, oh, we got to go all in now, or it's got to all happen now. And the gardener knows with time. Because we're nurturing something. We're not hustling something into existence. And sometimes it's something as simple as that switch that makes all the difference. That's the difference of the person in the meeting who can hold court and speak at a pace that people can understand, people can follow, we understand. That is still, when I show up for a meeting and I'm like, this is what we need, we've got to hit this goal, we have to hit this. Doesn't mean backing away from what needs to be done, but it's knowing that when we're nurturing this, right? How we do one thing is how we do everything. To live a life of your dreams, right? To live boldly only requires daily deposits. It doesn't require everything at once. And that's the difference between nurturing something. That depression sometimes, that anxiety, that dull, that, when I get to blank. Switching from hustle, from it needing, from I need it, to trusting it, because nurture is trust. Nurture is co-creation. A gardener knows that they are co-creating with, Mother Earth, with the earth. They're not in control of when it rains and when it's sunny and how the seed is going to go. They're not in charge, but their job is to, I know it's so many metaphors about gardens, and I'm not the first one to do this, but just, right, it's illuminating. It's still worth going back to, because I know y'all, and I know that we are all so much in that same place of like, oh yeah, that visualization works. That works. That makes sense to me, right? Our job is to clear the space. Our job is to make sure that we, it's one of my favorite, you guys know, I love Remington Donovan is one of my spiritual teachers. And that's such an impactful thing of like, make yourself a fit receptacle. The work that we're doing to live boldly, to live out loud, to live a life of your dreams, this is life's work. This is not all happening tomorrow. And whether your TikTok goes viral and suddenly you got 25,000 followers the next day, or you're slowly, steadily building a following, or you're like, Rachel, I don't even do social media. Like, that still applies to the thing that you're doing, that daily deposits is how we get there. The gardener knows that they are co-creating with something greater than themselves. They're just showing up to nurture. And nurture is about presence. It's about showing up. And the thing I love about it the most is knowing the nurturer knows they're just there to provide what they can provide. They're not concerned with needing to provide everything. They're not concerned with needing to do everything. There's a maturity to the nurturer. There's some maturity there. The willingness to move at a pace that makes sense, that is sustainable, that's maturity. And we could call it spiritual maturity. That's why I cannot stand the I'm going to download my course and you're going to learn how to make 6 figures in 6 months. And if that's one of you, feel free to not like me. That's fine. Turn this off. But just any of that shit where somebody's promising you that they're going to get you something super fast. Our culture loves that, right? We love we could buy followers or Ozempic or any of these things. And there's no shade if you're taking Ozempic for a myriad of reasons. That's not the point. The point is our instant gratification. And it's okay to accept. We don't have to feel shameful about wanting or seeking instant gratification. Yeah, that's fucking awesome, right? I would love for everything to be the way that what I imagine it to be tomorrow. But here's the kicker. Am I capable? Am I the fit receptacle tomorrow to handle the life of my dreams? That's why personal development, that's that word, develop. We need time to be able to do that. So we don't need to hustle our way there. You're not going to outwork your dreams. You are not going to outsmart what is already ready for you. You're not. It hasn't been done. It is not universal law, right? It's all the time looking around. Nature is the best teacher. We have to cycle through a season. It doesn't happen right away. So also, hustling is a myth. It's not real. I mean, you're welcome to do it and you can do it for a while, but you're gonna burn out. I don't know a lot. I can guarantee that. That's a Rachel LaForce guarantee. And it's just slightly maneuvering that energy. And so that's what I want you to think about. What would shifting, I want you to sit down. This is actually something that would be really good because I love for me. So I'm guessing if it works for me, it's probably something that would be beneficial for many of you, which is when we talk about vibrations or something, we feel it first in our body, right? And so what would it feel like to be in that place where we're shifting from hustle to nurture? And you could almost start to toggle back and forth between the two feelings, right? And so the more that we are practicing the feeling, the way our body feels, that's a way that we can catch up faster when we're hustling. If we're trying to lay it out as like, oh, a do or a don't, not as effective. Tapping into how we feel. That's a full body experience, friends. So I want you to start to practice what would that feel like? And then secondarily, it's like, oh yeah, how could I just be like nurturing my business better? Yeah, like to nurture would be, let me go through my emails and make sure I have a system set up in place so that I can better nurture my clients and show up for people in a way that I don't feel exhausted, but I'm getting back to them in time. That's why these systems, right? Throw a rock and hit a coach that talks about how they're going to fix all your systems. Again, no offense if that's you, right? But there is value in that. What are the systems? There are all of these small pieces that break down how can we better nurture ourselves. And sometimes that's looking at what are the pain points within your day that shift you from nurturing yourself, your business, perhaps your family, right? To hustle, we got to go. Our pain points, which, this is most families, is in the morning, getting out the door for school, and then right before bed, because I have raccoons for children. And so that's like the most insane time in our house, right? So I've had to relook at, I can either fight through both of those times. And as soon as I wake up, I'm like, God, this is going to be so hard. And God, I don't like doing that. Yeah, it is hard. Wrangling two very loud, very fast, very strong toddlers and young children is not necessarily fun. Is there a better way that I could be nurturing this? How could I make it fun? How could I look at this differently so that myself and our family, we can move through these times differently? So I also want you to look at where are the places within your day. We're not looking at your full vision for the next 10 years. Why? Because again, to nurture something, the life that you want is hidden in your daily deposits. So we have to go back to where are we leaking energy in the day? Where are we hitting that burnout in the day? And when we can start to have some control over that, of shifting our own energy into a place that is more constructive and conducive for where we want to be, your life is going to shift. Your shoulders are going to relax. You're going to notice you have more time. You're slowing down. You're getting better sleep. You're showing up for people in a new way. I lots of guarantees in this episode. I guarantee they're going to be way more. Aha. Here's an easier way to do that thing. Oh, why wasn't I offering this thing? Because when we're hustling, when we're going that fast, we're not slowing down to see what is right in front of us. So as we are in this new season of showing up from a place of excellence, knowing that excellence is the bare minimum, the only way that we're going to continue to show up in that place is coming at our life from a place of nurture. Because it may be very new for a lot of you to try to show up from a place of excellence. That's going to be a challenge for many of you. So when we can start by deciding, committing to, this is where I'm going to show up in my life, and here's how I'm going to do it, and laying the groundwork so that you're able to do it. And I think that is the best place for us to start. I trust this has been helpful. I am so excited to connect with each of you. I am a real person. You can DM me. And so any of the things, I always love hearing from you guys. You're like, oh, I was going through this exact same thing, just because when we're doing this, I am speaking directly to you and your experiences. So I want to hear about them. I want to know how you're growing, what you're moving through. And like I said, this is just the beginning, but I think this is the perfect place for us to start. Make sense? Say yes? All right. I love it. Tune out, tune in. Love you, mean it. Well, I don't know about you, but I sure as hell feel better. Thank you so much for tuning in to Healing is Hilarious. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to subscribe, rate, and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your support helps me reach more listeners on their healing journeys. Ready to dive deeper? Check out my TEDx talk on YouTube. Just search Rachel LaForce TEDx for more insights and laughs. Until next time, tune out, tune in. Love you, mean it.